All right, everybody, how are you today? It is Sunday, the 22nd of September, 2024. I am going to start this week's neutral strategy. If Before we get started here, if you would just go ahead and hit that like button. We'll see how long this plays out, right? Every weekend is kind of impromptu. I wouldn't say kinda, it is. I'm waking up, out of my dizzy spell of being at FSU this past weekend with my youngest daughter. It was eye-opening. It was fun. It's great to see a good time. But so, just to give you a little bit of background, the daughter's in a sorority. Got to hang out at the sorority house, meet everybody, have breakfast, all that kind of fun jazz. Lots of people, lots of people. Game weekend as well. And then her boyfriend is part of one of the biggest frat houses there, if you will. And that was eye-opening. So we got to do a Saturday there. They call it tailgating. So back in my day, tailgating was I'm thinking cars and trucks, and we're sitting in a field, which people still do that. But when you have frat houses, basically they sponsor events, and you can come in and they give away free drinks and all this really cool stuff, and the DJs and dancing. I mean, it was absolute what's the best word? Like mayhem? It's pretty nuts. But again, eye-opening, and had a wonderful time with my daughter, and actually my other daughter was there. It was just a really good time, and I hope you had a great weekend and are ready for this neutral strategy. So let's see how did it play out this past week? Well, we did hit an all-time high. Our probabilities played out. I talked about that in the broad market analysis. You can see it only set up for the long side, but you only got target two. So even if you went at the money here at 563, you did get about $6 or $7 to the upside, and we ended up closing out just kind of, we were up at 568, which was one of my targets. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't that big of a week, but it was fun overall, profitable week. I was looking through my numbers on TradesViz, and let's see, PL looks good. Total PL was up, but my win rate actually came down just a tad. I'd have to go back and see exactly what trades that was, but usually I'm batting around 73%. It looks like. Let me just make sure. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I mean, I only came in just under 60% last week. So not bad, made money. Um, but when I look at it, it seems kind of flat, when I'm looking at these two charts. The cool thing over here on the Qs, you did get the short setup, but if you watch the video, then we simply just came down here into target one, which was the demand zone. It worked really well. So if you just went long out of here, you did pretty good. I mean, from 470 all the way into 485. Now, looking at these two charts, I really don't want to do a whole lot of change here, um, but we will. We will. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change up the lines, and we're going to keep the demand zones that I have on here. Now, the difference is SPY is at an all-time high, right? And we do have a little bit of resistance above, but this is how we're going to do it. Let's see if we could do this kind of fast today. And I'm not trying this again, just improv, right? Um, let's take, all right, we're going to take this level off on SPY, and we're going to take this green level, and we're going to, which is your go to go long, we're going to put this up here and we're going to go just above the weekly edge and go to this past daily edge. And that's going to be where I want to go long to the upside to that next target, which was 577. And then we're going to take this red, and this would be like, hey, well, where would I want to go short, right? And in this case, where I would want to go short, it's not going to be unless we can break down below this daily edge for this week. Now that's 565 by 572, which is about $7 wide. Well, actually, just a little less than that. But yeah, so far we got that. Let's take this level off. All right, now we can see we never came down to T1, T2, T3, and so forth. But what we did do here is create a little bit of demand right in here. All right, so I'm going to go across here like that. I'm going to do a couple other things. All right, just watch. I'll take my Fibonacci. We're going to come, I'm going to start right here. This is where that trend started. I'm going to come up to here. You guys can see that this is pretty close to 23.6, so I'm going to bring that down there. And I'm actually going to bring this to tomorrow's daily edge right there. And I'm going to give our next target right there. So this means I change the green to here. All right, this is going to make it a little bit tighter, and we're still going to be able to go long here if we need to. All right, and we got the 23 there. That means, right? I mean, you guys get this. If we were to break down below this, that means we're breaking that bullish channel, the extreme bullish channel. Okay, so I want to bring that just a little bit closer right there. All right, now this was the neutral. I'm going to take that out of here, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to use the weekly edge here as a target. All I'm doing is really just using my lines for right now. I'm going to move the neutral here. Starting to look a little cleaner. We left this target here. That was already there. That's too far away though. You know, that's I mean, from current price, that's almost $10. But from here, it's like 6. It's just too far. I'm going to use some Fibonacci extensions. I'm going to go from this pivot here to this pivot. I'm going to double click. I'm going to use this high. And if you remember, so if you watch the broad market analysis, I'm going to change this 577. I'm going to come up here to the 50. If you watch the broad market analysis, I'm a little bit, again, cautious this week because this guy over here needs to get through some supply and so forth. But I like this. It is in the 4-hour cloud. It makes me feel like we're going to go sideways to down, perhaps into these lower levels down here. But again, price is king. All right, I'm just gonna readjust this. So anytime you move a line, just so you guys know, if you move a line and you're like, damn, where was it? All you do is hit Control Z and it goes right back to where it was. And I'll actually do that for several steps. So I had 558 here. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly what I had it on last time. I'm gonna come close and then we're gonna have these zones. It's gonna look like this. The only thing I don't like about this neutral being here is I'm gonna bring that up to the daily. Well, no, because we said that was the 23.6. All right, we're going to keep that there. I'm actually going to do a closer target right in here. See how, if you look closely, these candles shoot up out of here? That tells me there's demand there. Now, I have two choices. I can make this lower, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. So, sorry, instead of putting another white line there, I'm just going to make the zone a little bit wider. It's not that bad. It's $5, right? And we got a target here, just using edges. I'm coming up right before them. The idea there is don't be a D for a T, right? And down here, um, this, I feel like, all right, let's investigate. See how this is an inside candle, that's an inside candle, and the wicks are up here. Um, I'm going to move this 555. I'm going to come up just a tad, about right there. I'm coming up to this wick. Basically, if you look at this line and you come across, I'm right above that wick right there. That has to do with that inside and up formation, okay? So boom, there we go to the upside and downside. That was really fast. I thought it was. Hopefully you guys understand. Let's go over the levels further down here, inside and up. And then this is a huge imbalance in there. So if we get a really strong pullback, this is my more confident zone. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try here, but more confident zone here. The neutral strategy on the SPY is only about $5 wide. We are towards the top of it. And again, this target is right before the weekly edge around 571. Any line to the upside is resistance and or a target if you're long. Any line to the downside is support or a target if you are short. Please watch the video if this is your first time watching this. Don't forget to give it a like. Over here on the QQQ, neutral strategy. This one, I'm going to be, let's see, T1, T2. So we hit 3 targets to the upside, and then we had the supply zone up here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this green. Okay, I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to use my weekly edge. I'm going to take this 481 and I'm going to use that right there. Okay. This is going to be my neutral for right now. And Again, we could mess around a little bit and change it around just like that. We have two edges here that might be hard on your screen to see, but there is a purple and an orange. Just go in between those. That's going to be my first target to the downside. And just like the SPY, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to measure. I want to find out where my 23.6 is. It's right there. And then we got this demand zone that it came into last time. Cool. I'm going to keep these right here. So it looks like so far, it looks like shallow moves, if you will, to the downside. All right. Now, this demand zone, again, worked perfectly. I don't want to get rid of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring 38.2. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with this. The 38.2 is so close to it. But since prices come back here so many times, we may just make a higher low. And so I'm going to come up a little bit. I'm going to bring this guy up just a tad. So that takes into consideration the 38.2 and the 50. I like that. What I don't like is the separation of targets here, meaning just the spread between them, like 476 into 473, 478 to 476. Just my OCD kicking in. But see, that's the thing you got to think about. It's not about my OCD. I need to be looking at structure, right? And I have to ask myself, like, does this target right here make sense? Um, I'm going to use, if I bring this over here, this kind of gives you a little bit better idea. I'm going to use kind of like this trend line, if you will, as my second target. So just watch where I'm at, and we're going to come about right there. All right. So a little bit more white lines to the downside than I would want. Typically, it's only 3, but I like this. I think it gives you a really good blueprint, regardless. You know, you're long over the green, you're short under the red. These are targets to the downside. Um, I'd prefer, you know, if we go short, that we get all the way down to here, right? But since the overall trend is pretty bullish in the market, I feel like I need to be careful. I don't want too wide. You know, I don't want to take all of these out of here and be like, hey, you know, we got to go short all the way into 471. I just think that's too much. So we're going to put those back and see how I just hit Control Z. It brings them all back. Now what I will do, I'm going to take this one out of here. I'm going to decide to bring this up, and we're just going to make this whole entire thing demand that has been tested. So just know that. That's what it's going to look like. And if for some reason this thing doesn't hold because it's been tested, then I think we could break down to these lower targets here. Okay. Now to the upside, 484 into 489, you know, I got to ask myself, does that make sense? This needs to be moved. I'm going to take the green. I'm going to actually put it on the daily edge last week. I'm going to put it right there. So that's going to change things a little bit. And then for upper targets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this quadrant line that I use for so much, especially in our ES and our NASDAQ futures. I'm going to break it and it's going to look like this. So your targets to the upside, okay, 489.99 seems a little far away. So one thing that I want to do is come over here and pull up this here. Let's go over to the QQQ quarterly and just make sure that we're not missing anything. We went over this in the broad market analysis. So to the upside, I got 502. Got the structure over here that's 487. Yeah, so 487. Let's do that. This is 489.99. Okay, so it's going to look like that. So these are going to be your targets. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Just one more time. I want to see exactly what that number was. 487.22. Just like that. All right, cool. So there we go. That is our neutral strategy for this week. I think it looks great. Overall, my sentiment, you can see it on the broad market analysis. That's all I have for today, guys. I really appreciate you. Have an amazing day.